Good morning, everybody.
Morning,
Morning,
Rob.
Rob. Good
Good
morning,
morning, Rob.
Morning.
How's it going? Give everybody a minute or two to get on. Just a moment. While we're waiting, who feels like you have a good work-life balance? Yay, no. So I see one person, that's it? Nobody else, huh?
I'm not sure it's really possible. It's sometimes you have to do more work and sometimes you have to do more family and personal, and you hope in the long run that it all works out okay. But it's never totally balanced, in my opinion.
Well, maybe it should be work-life imbalance. Should be the session. But I see, was it Beth? You said you feel like you have a good balance?
I feel like I have a good balance, but I feel like
sorry.
I didn't.
The other Beth Steele.
Yeah,
Sorry, Beth.
pretty good balance, but I think sometimes I don't choose to do the personal things that I really want to do. So it's kind of like I have the time, but I don't make the right choices all the time.
And,
Like, for example, I want to run 3 times a week. And so sometimes I end up running once or twice instead of the third time because I just kind of get lazy. Where at work, I'm really more focused on getting the things done that need to be done.
and do you put how rigid are you to living by your calendar?
Very. My calendar and lists. I write everything down and make sure I check it off. Even if it's going to showings or a listing appointment or prepping for a listing, everything goes on my calendar so I don't forget something.
Yeah,
Except for the running and stuff like that, that's kind of like I don't have it down, so it's like my calendar's not making me accountable for the personal things I want to do that are good for me.
well, maybe part of it is you have to put your personal things in the calendar as well, right?
Yes, exactly.
And I think a lot of times if we don't put it in our calendar, it doesn't get done, and that holds true especially for our personal life, right? Like if you don't put it
Exactly.
in, you neglect it, you miss it. That's the consequence that we pay for not having the discipline. And I thought, and sometimes I still have these thoughts about the calendar is so restrictive because it's like my day isn't my own because everything is booked out, right? But that's really the only way to have true freedom is to have everything structured. Otherwise, maybe something takes a little bit longer, and you always find ways in the day to solve for the unintended um, interruptions or challenges. Um, so as we go into, as we turn the calendar, um, I think we need to probably be more disciplined with the personal things that will give us the ability to be more resolute to doing the business activities that we need to do. All right. And
Sometimes I feel that 95% of my business came through my sphere. So lately not actually doing things in the, like going out to dinner and staying in touch and all those kind of things that were really important all of these years to build out those relationships and get the business from all of them. I kind of put on the back burner, and you kind of get like at the end of the day, you don't feel like doing even that kind of stuff that's, fun, but you're between working and, doing things with family, your schedule is kind of, tight. So I'm going to make an effort to reinvent that sphere wheel again, to generate some, other business.
See, Rob, we always talk about, and I hope that I'm not going to like take the thrust of your talk right now, but about time blocking. And I always encourage agents that it's just as important to schedule your time at the gym, your time you to go for a walk, the time you spend with your family, and block out those times on your calendar so that you make sure that you can work towards creating this work-life balance that Rob's going to talk about today. So it's not just about programming in when you're going to make your calls and when you're going to show houses. It's also important about when I'm going to go to the gym and when I'm going to meet with friends and the rest.
I mean, some of the the most successful and probably the most satisfied people I've had the opportunity to get to know and work with, um, they probably take excessive vacations. They are habitual schedulers of their time off, and whether they do it in 60, 90, 120-day spurts, then they go away for 10 days. There's a lot of people who do that find a way to be incredibly successful. And the ones I'm thinking about are chairman's to diamond level members that, their priority is, hey, I'm taking 10 days off here. I'm going to the Caribbean. I'm going on a cruise. I'm going here. And they have their vacations planned out in advance to have that balance. And sometimes work-life balance is not just about, a daily routine, because some of us work 6 days a week, maybe even, partially 7 days a week, which is not a very good balance. But then you take time off. But if you don't plan it and you don't have something that you're looking forward to, sometimes you're less efficient, moping through the day, so to speak. I think my most effective time is when I'm trying to get everything organized before I go away so that I can have peace when I'm away and everything is laid out. That really gives me the ability to, not worry about everything. So I think, contrary to what you'd expect, somebody talking to you about your business and business planning to say would be, plan your vacations, plan your time off as part of your game plan for 2025 and beyond, and then you can always work around that. If we talk, I just muted everybody, but anyway, so that's my thought. Hey, Marlene, I think you're keep unmuting yourself.
Okay, very good. Speakers Real Tech. Yeah, you have.
There we go. So, planning your vacations, like who has all their vacations planned out for 2025 at this point?
I have one planned, that's it right now.
I do the whole year.
Glenn, you're planned out for the year?
Yep.
I hate to ask, how many?
9 weeks.
9 weeks. Not 7, 8, or 10, 9.
No.
It just landed that way.
Well, I'm just impressed by like how certain you were with how much time you have planned out. And I mean, and Glenn, when you are here, when you're not on vacation, dare I ask, how many hours are you putting in a week towards the real estate side?
Probably 14, 15 a day. A little bit less now that I'm doing a marathon.
That would seem to be a little bit less sustainable, to do 15 hours a week 15 hours a day for most of us. And now you're doing a marathon. How much time are you spending on that?
Too much. A lot. Probably to the tune of about an hour and 20 minutes a day.
Okay.
Some days longer. Tomorrow's a 3-hour run.
So you don't sleep much, sir, do you?
I have a solid 6 every night.
Okay.
Yeah.
So some of us might look at that and say, wow, that's 14 hours, 12 hours a day is like unbearable. But to have 9 weeks off and to be successful, and I think more than being successful, it's being fulfilled with what you do. Because when I talk with you when you're working, Glenn, I don't know, I get the sense it doesn't feel like work to you most of the time.
Agree too, but I think also it's the destination, right? I know, like for instance, we're going to Utah. We decided to go a week early and do a bunch of the sites there, right? And it's a destination. I have to get there and I have to work so that I can get there, right? And so I look at it as goals and destinations.
I know a lot of people in the tech field, they do mini sprints for like updating programs. And I was working with the people before before Inside Real Estate bought KV4, and then I was working with one of the other programs that we had. The gentleman Frank was running that, and they would have periods where they would evaluate the software, and then they would try to program it in 60-day spurts, roll it out, review it, and then they'd have another like 60-day review and update. And I think for our business, if you can get a rhythm where um, you have your mini goals, and you also have your personal goals to keep you fresh and relevant. I heard something when I was trolling on YouTube from Robert, I think it's Herkovic from the Shark Tank. And does anybody want to guess how many years the Shark Tank has been running?
30.
I think it's like
30.
22 years.
Yeah, I think 21 or 22. I was like, I didn't think it was that long. But he had made a comment that when he was talking to other billionaires and I don't think he's a billionaire, he was talking to other people that were doing better than him. And he was talking about what was one of the factors that helped him be confident and successful to take it to that next level. And he said that, years ago, it was okay to be passionate about your business, right? And who's passionate about your business? And I would have raised my hand too, but he said that you can't be passionate, you need to be obsessed. That in this economy, you need to be obsessed with your business and the outcome. And I guess it's just a next level to being passionate about it. You're like always, thinking about it, evaluating, reassessing what's going on with your business. And I'll also say this, like, it's really hard to be very successful in your business if your personal life is out of kilter, right? If your personal life is in shambles, your health isn't right, your family situation's not right. Would you agree that it's hard to be effective at your business, right? I mean, if you're not healthy, you don't feel like putting in 8-10 hours a day. If there are other problems that are out there that are distracting you, you might have seen your peers, or unfortunately, it might have been some of us on the call where you've gone through a bad family situation, and just completely chops you down at the knees with your business. And circumstances happen, and I think we need to plan in some time for not being working in order to be more effective when we're working, if that makes any sense. Because I'm going to go to what I feel is my de facto co-host, Robert Garver. Don't you think if you asked agents how many hours they work, do you think they would exaggerate more or less?
I think they would exaggerate more.
I would agree with you. And it's because while they're doing other things, they say, "Oh, I was working all day," but half the time they were doing non-work activities when I observed them. But in their mind, they think that they worked 10 hours today. Um, so being true to your calendar and understanding and having some separation and having some time to do other things. I think Fran Blakely mentioned that, there's even an intersection between personal and work life, because you might be out with your friends, but that's also part of business development, right? And that's why your accountant allows you to write those off on your taxes. Just
Exactly, exactly.
because hanging out with your friends in real estate is business development, right? So the one thing I would write down is get clear on what you want to do non-business wise in 2025, and not only be clear about it, but put it on the calendar and book it. Okay, book some of those trips. You know, if you're not sure you're going to be able to make them, do them so that you can cancel them if you have regret, but put them on the calendar. Then they become real. Okay, and then they become motivating. You know, does anybody take 9 weeks off besides Glenn? Nobody.
I think Scott Kaplan does, right? He might not be on.
Yeah, he might give you a run, but I think he does, I don't know, I think he does like 10 days every 2 or 3 months. I don't know if that quite equates to that, Glenn, but he might give you a run for your money. But I think if you put all the hours in though, Glenn, you might still win the working trophy with 10+ hours. And how many days a week, Glenn, are you putting in when you're not vacationing?
Yeah, truth be told, probably 7. Maybe not physically in the office all 7, but I definitely work all 7.
And is it fair to say that you're obsessed with your business?
Yeah, I'll probably be on that like a locust.
You're beyond obsessed. Um, and is it fair to say that, you know, 90% or more of the time it's satisfying? Maybe
Yeah,
not enjoyable, but satisfying.
yeah, I would say definitely. I mean, it's not all roses. People may think that, but you plug on.
Hey, Rob.
Yes.
Yeah, I watched Dave Leniger about a year ago do a class on time management, and as busy as he is, still involved with multiple companies, he does his planning 6 months in advance. He schedules his vacations, his destinations, but mostly his vacations 6 months in advance, and they're not 2-day vacations. I mean, he'll end up in Africa for 10 days. But it's well scheduled as time off. And uh, he said, I've been doing that for the last 40 years. So even as he was building Remax, he had his time off scheduled as part of his growth platform, which I thought was pretty interesting.
Yeah, I mean, you've had extraordinary access to Dave over the years, right? And is it fair to say that he's a tenacious but not a perfect entrepreneur, right?
That's an understatement. Yeah.
You know, I guess having had some access probably more early on, but what other things did you observe from Dave Liniger, who runs a huge business besides booking vacations?
Well, the best time to catch him is at about 5 in the morning. He's an early riser. And that seems to be like with you, the best time to catch you is 4:30 or 5 in the morning because you're always up and you're always there. It seems to be a trait that follows most entrepreneurs.
So, and I would say a lot of times, Howard, when I get up early, I'm not technically working. I'm kind of sharpening the saw, um, listening to an audiobook, doing a little bit of reading, doing some thinking. Um, I don't know. Does anybody else have that habit? Over the years, did you start grinding first thing in the morning, or were you in like the planning visionary stage early in the morning, Howard?
Well, I would never claim a status of being a visionary, but it sure is nice to not have any phones ringing or people bothering you 3 to 4 hours before they start showing up to work. It's a great time to be creative. It's a great time to craft. I do my best creative writing very early in the day, but it's a trait that I designed probably while I was in college. Now, in college, 5 in the morning was also about when you were getting home, but it was,
Afraid we'd go there.
huh?
I was afraid we'd go there.
Yeah. But no, it's
But habits change, right, over time.
yeah, yeah. But it's a wonderful time. It's just a great time of day to be up and be productive.
Yep. So
It takes, that time of day takes away a lot of excuses. Sometimes we've talked about this, how we'll go into work and we'll kind of have a plan for the day, and then we'll look for things to do other than what we plan to do. But, that early in the morning, 5, 6 o'clock in the morning, it's clear cut. You're up, you're going to do what you plan to do. There's not going to be excuses. There's not going to be someone else calling you, asking you questions. How do I do this? How do I do that? It's really a great time. I agree with Howard to be doing work and to be visualizing what's lying ahead for you that day.
and before we go off of your topic, Howard, was Dave Liniger a obsessed workaholic in your opinion, or no?
I think so. I think so. When he was on task, he was obsessive. But again, the point, I think the question was, how do you schedule time off? And I think when he scheduled time off, he was off. But he had backup help at the office that he could rely on, and so that was part of it. That's part of his planned work ethic. As he grew, he acquired great people to work behind him.
And I don't know if you've come across this in your career. I'm sure you probably have, but I've noticed that there have been a lot of informal partnerships so that people can have that same privilege that Dave had, knowing everything was covered when they take time off, um, by having somebody in your office, a peer who covers everything when you're away. Okay. And I think if you don't have that for peace of mind, that's something that you need to focus on. And I found the best strategy for doing that is basically a reciprocal process where it's not like, hey, Fran, when you're away, I'll cover your clients. When I'm away, you'll cover mine. And you get a 20% referral fee. I get a 20% referral fee. I don't know if that really is the best way. I think most of the processes I've seen have been where, I basically probably do a better job with your clients when you're away because I don't want to let you down. And I know you're doing the same for me. How many of us have that type of a infrastructure so that you can go away for 3 days or a week and not feel like you're losing money or your clients are suffering? Show of hands if you're on camera. Fran, I don't know if you're on mute if you're talking.
Um, I was not on mute. I was not talking. I was just raising my hand and nodding my head.
Oh, I was gonna say Fran Blakely. Were you talking? If she was, she was on mute.
You're still
Um,
muted, Fran.
Fran, I don't even know where she went on my screen. But anyway, um, so so do most of us have that? Again, if you raise your hand, because I'm going to try to change my view here so I can see everybody. Hang on. So Nick, you don't have one? Dan, do you have somebody to cover for you? You do?
Yeah, I'm on a team of 8 here in Florida and 1 in New Jersey, so we cover each other for showings, and
So,
that's
what's interesting, Dan, sometimes even being on teams, it's not automatic that you have somebody that's going to cover for you at the same level that you have. And I've had a lot of team leaders struggle to get coverage from their team members. So that's not a given that you have competent coverage when you're not there. And if you don't have that, if you don't have somebody that's got your back and that will give you the ability to, um, take off completely, minus complete, disastrous outcomes, like, you should not be getting calls from the person that covers for you. Okay, because that will degrade from that balance piece that you have. Um, Tony, Tony Vero, do you have somebody covering for you when you're away?
Well, when I had the team, yes, I was always covered, but now it's just myself. So I have somebody else in the office taking care when I go out there.
And then you cover for them when they're away, right?
Exactly.
I mean, I think that's the perfect solution. If you don't have somebody that's like that, you need to immediately find your real estate soul partner to give you peace of mind to go away.
Tony had me and Mark Godino the cover for you.
We used to work together there at one time. Yes, yeah, the Tres Amigos.
If you have an assistant or a transaction coordinator that's licensed, that helps too. I tell my students the same thing. If you hire a transaction coordinator or an assistant, they should be able to cover for you, as long as they're licensed.
But Rob, with the advent of so many people working out of the office as opposed to what we had before COVID, what would your suggestion be if an agent came to you and said, I really need to have somebody, not as a team member, but I need to have somebody of like mind that I can rely on and trade business back and forth for vacations, etc. What would your solution be?
Well, there's no hesitation in my mind that, I'm a connector of people, Howard. So I would try to put people together and let them do what they do. In other words, in my experience, these type of relationships, either they work well or they're a complete train wreck. And if they're a complete train wreck, it's because you have a different mindset. You have a different way that you're taking care of your clients. And I think the question behind the question, Howard, is, when we had more of a social interaction in these offices, it was easier to find somebody that you felt was similar to you or that, you had a personal connection with. And now with everybody being remote, it's a little bit more challenging to do that.
Right.
But that's where Tyler, myself, Elizabeth, and Colleen come in to try to help make those connections. Maybe Gary, you can help make those connections with people in our marketplace. So
that was my thought. So branch manager or your first person of contact within the office in management should help you with the connection.
and surprisingly, throughout the years, Howard, I've had very little strife and conflict with how that gets handled when agents make those arrangements and pick their own partners. Probably have had more challenges when somebody says, "Hey, I'm going away for 2 weeks on a cruise. I need somebody to cover for me," and then they never put anything into the relationship, right? They just want somebody to cover. And they're like, "Oh, I'll pay you $30 an hour to show. I'll pay you a 20% referral fee." I'm looking at you, Robert, because I know we had a couple of those that went sideways, right? Robert Garber.
Yes.
So I think it's usually best off if you find a reciprocating relationship and gives you peace of mind.
Yeah.
Alex, it's I don't, it's 11:30. Hopefully we have close to peak attendance here. I wanted to tap you for the what's it about 12 days away from Path to Platinum.
That's right. It's pretty exciting. We've got lots of offices getting on board, and for those that don't know about the Path to Platinum, it's a 7-week program that's designed on what we're talking about, which is the time blocking and setting our schedules in place so we can be successful. And it's not just about prospecting, but that's a big part of our business. And we're going to talk about how to prospect, when to prospect, what to say when we're prospecting, and we're going to build on that each week. And after 7 weeks, hopefully the airplane is in the air and we're taking off for a strong year.
And what are some of the things that you're going to be covering in those modules, Alex?
Yeah, some things that are just simple, like getting back to the basics, reconnecting with our sphere of influences. We talked about it in our leadership meeting last week, which was our memory joggers, going back into our memory bank of all the people we've met and creating a list and reaching out to those people. So, what does a warm call sound like when we're trying to re-engage our sphere of influences? Buyers and sellers presentations. So you may have one, or maybe it's outdated. We're going to run through that process and what that looks like. How to do a proper CMA. We're going to go through that, ensuring that we do get the business when we go and offer those home free evaluations. How do we secure the business? Things like that.
So we had a question. Gail asked that 1 day or 3 days, 2 or 3. It's 3 days a week, right? For 90 minutes a day.
Yeah, exactly.
And
So it's up to 90 minutes. Not every day is
and
going to be 90, but
there's homework, or
yeah, there is. It's pretty much what we should be doing every single day is just tracking our habits and tracking our numbers. I actually got message just in the chat. Some people didn't get the email until they checked their junk box. We did send it out through BombBomb, through the Remax Select Group BombBomb account. So if you didn't get that email, make sure you check it because we have a couple attachments in there. One's going to just lay out the itinerary for the 7-week program, and the other is going to be the commitment form. And we're looking for people that are going to stick with the entire 7 weeks. This is not a show up one day of the week and then don't come for the rest. We want commitment because there's going to be different groups assigned together, and we're going to calculate all the numbers and bring them to our attention every week to see who's doing the right activities. And we're going to celebrate with some prizes and hopefully some more production in our business.
so who should sign up?
I don't think there's really a limit. I think everybody's looking to probably have a better year than last year. If people could just leave that in the chat, maybe just a thumbs up. Are you looking to grow your business from last year? Leave a thumbs up in the chat. It's for people to just
Alex, I'm gonna double down on that statement and say if you're looking to have a better year than last year, regardless of whatever the market does, then you should sign up for this.
yes.
Because
Yeah,
I'm not concerned about what the market does. If I'm doing all the right activities, my income will increase. I will go from 100% club to platinum. I will go platinum to chairman. I will go
100%.
chairman to titan, right?
My biggest concern, Rob, are the people that think that they're too good for it. You know, those are the people that I'm the most concerned with, or the ones that think that they've got everything figured out. I've been doing this for 20 years, and I brought this up to my team because we're actually going to have my team from Canada enter into this competition. And I've been doing this for 20 years. I've done this program 5 times. If you were putting this course on, I would take it today. And I run a Pinnacle team. Um, I'm not above the business. I'm always learning. And the reality is we're all humans. We all get information from each other and we share. And if we could do something collectively together, will get better and better. And I feel like that's the way our attitude should always be in this business, is we're always growing, we're always improving. And so, yeah, I've got lots to say. I can't wait to share.
So Alex, here's something that really resonates and relates directly to what you're talking about. I had a conversation, a little challenge with a transaction probably 7, 8 years ago, and the agent, that the broker that summarized it for me, her name is Ruth Brewster. She's been a staple in our marketplace. You know, not a huge broker, but she's been around for over 50 years. And she said to me, you know, and Tommy was probably in his 70s. She's like, Tommy, he's a good boy. And Ruth was probably in her late 80s. She's like, the problem with Tommy is in the 41 years he's been with me, he's repeated the first year 41 times.
Mm,
And if you want to avoid repeating last year, or if you want to avoid repeating last year and just having a 5% improvement, then you need to shake it up. You need to shake up what you're doing. You need to change your habits so that you can have a different outcome.
exactly.
Okay. And, I think, Alex, you're obsessed with your business. And I say that in a good way, in a healthy way, because, you probably sign up for more of these things than normal because you want to stretch your limit. You want to stretch that of your team, right? You want to learn some new things as you move on in your career. So, people who should not sign up for this, this is important to talk about because our leadership talked about it. We are not doing this. This is not a money-making activity. However, there is a consequence, and there's a reason why there's a commitment and a consequence. And Alex, you want to talk about that while we have high attendance here?
Yeah, exactly. No, it's good. Well, I believe in education should always that you should always pay for education. That's my philosophy. I feel you get more out of things when you invest. And so Remax Select Group has invested in me, and I have the privilege to be able to help grow the organization. And so what we figured is Rob was going to put the dough up. He's paying my time. And then, for those that actually don't commit to the program after they've committed to it themselves, we will put a $500 penalty, and that penalty will be added into our prize pot. So we're going to use that for the rest of the people that stick with the program. And we figured that instead of charging for the program, which I've paid for 5 times, well over $1,000, Rob figured we would get more people on board if we did it this way, which I fully support.
And the commitment sheet goes to their manager, correct, Alex? Not you.
Yeah, so we've got there's a couple things going on here. So we have our commitment sheet. We're going to send it out through. Some people have actually already sent it over to me already. DocuSign. I really appreciate that. But to keep things organized, we're going to actually send it all out to everybody through digital signing, and that each week we're going to have the tracker sheets also sent out every week, and the team leader who's designated to that group, and the manager will be initialing the pages each week along with the agent. So there's a little bit of accountability there. We need that in our lives. It's like going to the gym. It always helps when you have a personal trainer. The team leaders vested into the success of your stats because they're going to use that towards the team stats, and the team stats are going to be calculated amongst the groups. So we're going to have like different teams competing against each other in a healthy competition. So it'll be pretty great.
Fantastic. So, Monday, Wednesday, Friday. What time is it, Alex?
So we're most likely, we're ironing out a few details because there's a prospecting segment. So on Wednesdays, Monday's is going to be teaching day, Wednesday's going to be prospecting day, and Friday is going to be team meetup day. And that's going to be for our self-directed work groups where the team leaders will connect and check in on how things are going. And so just kind of ironing out those details. But yes, for people that are in the Eastern Standard Time, it'll be around lunchtime.
Okay. And for those who say, what if I have an appointment in the middle of the day where I can't do this, am I going to have to pay the $500 if I
So
miss
it's up
one
to
or
the
two?
yeah, it's up to the team leaders. We're looking for commitment. There's always going to be things that come up. We talked about, being intentional with our time blocking. I hope that we can make this a priority in your schedule. I would factor this as a prospecting time. So if you carve in your schedule, you'd like to, do a certain amount of prospecting. Well, this could be used towards that time. Um, it's there's always going to be situations that come up, and obviously there'll be grace. But if it's an ongoing thing, or it's not being set as a priority, then of course the team leader has discretion. Because the challenge is, Rob, and this is just being frank, is if you've got someone on the team that's not doing the work and everyone else is, that person's actually bringing down the numbers. And so it's going to be up to the team leader and I'd probably involve one of the managers as well if there's someone that needs to be removed or asked to change directions so we can get the numbers back up.
And I think, Alex, I think we agreed to change the nomenclature to change the description from a team to a squad. Because
Yes.
we have a lot of
Sorry, I always
teams.
go back to team because I always say team, but yeah.
Yeah, so somebody said, what if you're not on a team? It doesn't matter
No.
if you're not on a team. What matters is to make the commitment.
Yeah.
And it's very easy to make a commitment and then to not show up the second or the third session,
Right.
especially if you haven't paid for it. Again, I'm not in the education business. Okay, I'm in the leadership business. I want to help everybody grow. And I do know that if there's no consequence, oftentimes, people will trail off. We won't get the outcome that we want, and it will ultimately hurt participants who don't finish. So we basically have adapted a reverse registration process, which is please don't register if you're not committed. That's all I ask.
That's it.
If
Yeah.
you are committed, don't don't sign up, don't do it, because my job is to find the way to get leverage on you to complete the course. And if you complete the course, it's going to change your business. Those are some things that I do know. You complete the course, you do the activities, it will change your business. All right. And if there's no other questions, I'm going to move on. Anybody else have any last questions? Tricia?
So will they be recorded in the event? Like I have two buyers in town in early January. So will they be recorded? We can catch up if we do have to miss it that day and then still submit our weekly reports.
It's a good question. Yeah, we will be recording it. We're going to be using an AI tool as well that'll give us the Cole's notes of what was talked about in that meeting as well. So that might be a bit easier for you to digest. I would just ask, respectfully, Tricia, like my clients don't dictate my schedule, and I hope that for people that have clients that you can work around that time schedule. It's going to be a set time. Once we do lock in, I'm just talking to more team leaders to make sure it works for their schedules before I give everyone those firm dates. But let's use this as what we call a rock item, and we're going to talk about time management actually, which was really cool that it was brought up today. Time management is going to be one of the pieces that we're going to talk about, and a rock item is something that just can't move in your schedule, and so we predetermine those rock things in our schedules in a weeks in advance, sometimes months, according to some other people's ideas, and those things just can't be altered unless it's an emergency.
Thank you.
So anyway, so hopefully that gives everybody an opportunity and to sign up if you want. If you have any questions, in Florida, go to Elizabeth. And then Colleen will be involved when she's back from her trip. In Arizona, reach out to Tyler. And in New Jersey, reach out to your manager or Edona if you have any questions. And, I'm looking forward to changing the trajectory of a bunch of our participants. I do know for certain that if you do the activities, it will change the outcome. I do know that it's gonna be inconvenient to commit to that time. But, you know, if you want to get in better shape, you got to go to the gym and work out. If you want to improve your business, you have to make some changes. So anyway, I hope to see a lot of you on, and Alex, I look forward to having some breakout years and pushing people beyond where they thought they could be, and changing some lives.
Totally, and it's going to push us as well to be better as leaders, and it's a win-win for everybody. And even we get just a little bit better, that's what we're looking for. We're not asking people to get out completely out of their comfort zones all the time, but we're here to help you grow. So if you want to grow, definitely let us know.
Fantastic. So everybody's clear on it, and the registration link has been getting
Check your
sent out a
email.
bunch of times.
Check your email. Check the Facebook group. I think we've marketed this thing pretty good. For those that haven't seen the emails, I'd be surprised. We've also text messaged it out. I think everybody's has access. If you don't, please send me a message. You can email me alexburns@goselectgroup.com, and I could forward it to you again if you didn't get it, but I'm sure you did. So
Fantastic. Let's see here. Want to just give everybody a contribution from Mr. Garver from today. Let's see. Let me share this right here. There we go. So, Robert, you said you saw this on CNBC?
Yeah, it was posted on CNBC this morning. The 15 metro areas with the fastest growing home price growth so far in 2024. The information is according to Redfin. But I mean, there were several cities that are in our marketplaces, whether they're in New Jersey or Florida. And some of the growth has been really dynamic. Rob and I both put out the same thing in New Jersey, that Newark is up over 11% this year, and New Brunswick is up just about 11%. Um, and
And we
then,
have West Palm Beach, Fort Lauderdale, and Miami, all in the 8+% range.
yeah. So regardless of what interest rates are at, people are still doing business.
Now, does that feel anybody in? I know we don't have a tremendous market share in Miami, but Fort Lauderdale Metro or West Palm Beach Metro, does that feel consistent with what you're seeing, or do you feel something different in those
It's
areas?
pretty close.
So the prices are still very. I mean, 8% is pretty significant. And I know it's a tale of two cities. The condos are not doing as well there, right? In those markets, or are they?
No, condos are slow.
Anybody in West Palm area, Broward County?
The condo market is declining, but the single family homes are still quite robust.
So, and you feel like you're seeing, almost 10% appreciation, Lisa? Because that to me doesn't seem like
I
what
don't
I've
see
seen,
that actually.
right? I mean, like the higher end stuff is probably flat to maybe even a little bit softer, right?
Yeah, in November over November of last year, the difference was better. What do you call it? 3%. There was 3%. That was still 3% better than last year.
Yeah, it was up to like 10 or 11% last year.
Yeah.
Down to 8%. So I would say 7, 8% is probably a good number.
And how is the celebration market doing for single families?
What was that?
How is, from our celebration office, is that market up,
Oh, so-
sideways?
Oh, okay.
Central Florida is a little bit up, like 2%. But Central Florida never fluctuates like South Florida. So it never goes down as much, never goes up as much.
Gotcha. Who's less optimistic about interest rates for next year?
I was just reading now before, and they were saying this article was saying that the interest rate is still going up. So I don't know what's going on.
Is anybody less optimistic about rates for next year than they were a month or 3 months ago?
I don't expect them to go down very quickly. I think they will go down eventually, probably in the latter half of next year, but I'm not optimistic that they're going to decrease for the first half of the year. I think we have too many things going on economically.
Does it matter, Rob?
Who was it? Glenn?
Yeah, it was Glenn.
So for me, it doesn't impact my projections. But what it does do is if you're hoping for better rates and you have your clients on the sidelines waiting for better rates, you're sending out signals for them not to do business. And 3 months ago, I would have thought 2 rate cuts and a new administration would be good for rates. But what is the closest proxy for mortgage rates? Who knows the answer to that?
10-year treasury bond.
Inflation?
And indirectly inflation, Lisa, but the 10-year treasury. So Nick, do you have mortgage experience, or you just follow?
I have a finance degree. I don't really have mortgage experience. I bought a lot of houses, if that counts.
So the 10-year treasury is probably the best proxy for what interest rates are doing. And Nick, do you know what the 10-year treasury has been doing recently?
I haven't looked at it recently, no.
So I'm going to share my screen again, because don't bet your future on rates saving the day. I hope they do, but I don't think it should have any impact on your income. The 10-year treasury, you guys see my screen now?
Yeah.
Let's see, 3 months, 10-year. Where is the axis here? I guess this is 4.5. So back in October, the 10-year treasury was down to 3.7, and now it's at 4.55. I think a lot of us thought when it was tailing down into the election that we would see, a couple of rate cuts and we'd see the rates dropping. And this is a really good site for you to check once a week, Mortgage News Daily, just so that you can stay ahead of your clients. And it gives you the information about where rates are.
I got a question.
Go ahead.
Are interest rates inversely or directly proportional to the treasury prices?
So they're directly related to the treasury yield, and I guess you'd say inversely related to the price, right? So if treasuries fall, rates are going up. If treasury prices rise, rates are going down. Does that answer
I
the
would
question?
call that inversely proportional.
Yeah. But it's directly related to the yield. So anyway, the good news is if we plan on thriving with higher interest rates. If rates drop, that's a bonus. And we ought to know how to have the conversation with our clients, especially the ones that are biased to staying on the sidelines, right? And hopefully with our path to platinum, we will stretch our I want to say objection handling, but our maybe it's even preemptive, or just having conversations with people about what it means to transact in this environment.
Help us problem solve better.
Yeah. I mean, I think a lot of people are taking action or not taking action based upon herd mentality, right? Everybody's doing it, then they're going to do it, right? Does anybody feel that way? Right? Everybody's talking about buying a house in 2020 and 2021. So everybody's got to do it. Now it's not as popular in the social circles, right? But people still need to buy houses, and families still form, families, people empty nest. There's still a lot of opportunity for us to serve our clients, and I think interest rates is a part, but not a major piece of it.
I think in that herd mentality as well, you saw for the last 2 years, a lot of people, a lot of media saying, oh, their interest rates are going up. Oh, the interest rates are going up. And that herd mentality was, oh, the interest rates are going up. Then a lot of people didn't know what that actually meant or what that was. And I think in the last even 6 months, as cuts have come, you've heard interest rates are coming down. We've hit a new normal, and the media has kind of turned more towards a neutral or even positive outlook on rates. And I think that'll help us as well.
So if somebody says, what do you think rates are doing? How do we answer that?
Fluctuating. 1 week they're up, next week they're down.
Let me see here.
We encourage buyers to take advantage of it, even if they're at 7.
Marry the house, date the rate.
Marry the house, date the rate. And here's another thing I saw on TV, a release, which is share of mortgage payments going to taxes and insurance. Do we think that's going up or down now that the rates have gone up? What do we think?
I would assume up.
Insurance has increased significantly in Florida, for sure.
So, so in 2014, it was 29%. Now it's 32%, over 32% of your mortgage payment is going towards taxes and insurance. So that's another, little headwind that we have to deal with. So I just hope that, we get a little bit better, a little bit more consistent on how we answer, and nobody wants to follow an unsteady leader through a huge financial transaction. So we need to have certainty. We need to have integrity. I'll borrow a Mike Ferry quote. Just have the courage to tell the truth all the time, right? Tell people, hey, you know what? The rates are higher. They might go higher. You have your dialogue. Let's talk about what it means to you for, transacting in this market, right? You need to make it very tangible so that it's relatable to them at this particular given time. And you need to look forward to, all these questions, because if it was easy, anybody can answer them, anybody can solve for it. But thank God the market's dynamic and people need us to solve for the problem. All right. So I know we went off a lot of different directions here. I think Path to Platinum will help us get some better balance. It will stretch our discipline to make sure that we're committed. We we can't help everybody if we aren't healthy ourselves. So that's why we need to have that work-life balance, so that we are showing up 100% all the time, and we're not, run down. We're not kind of a dejected participant in the industry, because there's a lot of them right now. There's a lot of people with their head down in this industry, and there's no need for that. So I appreciate you all coming on. I want to wish everybody a happy new year. I'll see everybody next week, and next week we're going to have a interesting discussion about to do resolutions or not. All right, that's going to be the topic, and thank you for giving me an hour of your time today. Bye, everybody.
Happy New Year, everybody.
Thank you.